Hello primary 4 students, how are you? Welcome in your science class with me, Dr. Shaimaa Hamdy Kasem, and your channel, the Big Sister channel. As now, we will study lessons 3 and 4 from concept 2, unit 2. So, are you ready? Let's start. Here we have lesson 3. We have activity 6 here, forms of potential and kinetic energy. So don't forget to subscribe, like and share my channel to watch all the videos. Okay? Here we will start our lesson by question. As here, this boy holds the ball or lift up the ball. So here the ball has which energy? Potential energy or kinetic energy? Yes, well done. The ball has potential energy stored in it. Yes. And here, when this boy lets the ball falls down, so the ball has, yes, kinetic energy, of course, because the ball moves toward the ground, and any moving object has kinetic energy. It is energy that produced due to the motion. Okay, this is what we studied last time. So now we will take the forms of potential energy and the forms of kinetic energy. As you see here, this ball is raised up, as it is raised up against the gravity force. You remember the gravity force, the pulling force that pulls all objects toward the Earth's surface or the ground. So here, when the ball is raised like that, so it is raised up against the gravity force. Yes? So it stores potential energy. We know this information. And because this potential energy is against the gravitational force, the gravity force, so we call this type of potential energy or this form of potential energy gravitational potential energy. So the energy that is stored in objects due to their position, this is called gravitational potential energy. As this ball, when the boy left it to drop, what happens? Yes, it will move into the ground. As here, the potential energy, the gravitational potential energy, will change into kinetic energy. Here we have the new word, gravitational. Gravitation. And this is adjective. Okay, so we have gravitational force, and this is looks like the gravity force, and here you have the translation in Arabic. Okay, so here we studied the first form of potential energy, which is gravitational potential energy. This is the potential energy that is stored in object due to their position, their height from the ground. Okay, and they called gravitational potential energy because the objects are raised up against the gravitational force which pulls all objects toward the Earth's surface. Okay, here you have a small ball that has mass 40 grams, and we have another heavy ball that has the mass 500 kilograms. What do you think? Which one of these balls will have more potential energy? The 40 grams ball or 500 grams ball? Here, the gravitational potential energy will be greater in the 500 grams balls. So here, We know that the mass of the object is affecting the potential energy. If it has greater mass, so it will have greater potential energy, okay? Also, we have here two balls, and we discussed this last time. You remember that? Yes, we have here ball on this height and another ball in a higher place. So which one of these will have more potential energy? Yes, of course, the ball that found in a higher place will have more potential energy, will have greater potential energy. So we now conclude that there are two factors affecting the potential energy of an object, which are mass and height. By increasing the mass, the potential energy, yes, increases also. Here we have the second factor, which is height. As by increasing the height of the object from the Earth's surface, okay, the object is found in a higher place, okay, what happens? This is increasing in the height, so the potential energy increases. So here the potential energy increases when the mass increases and when the height increases, okay? Now we finished talking about the first form of potential energy. We said that we have the form of potential energy that called gravitational potential energy that is stored inside the objects due to their position from the Earth's surface. And we know the two factors that affect the potential energy, which are mass and height. Okay, so now we will talk about the second form of potential energy, which is chemical potential energy. And chemical potential energy is energy that is stored in our bodies, inside our bodies from food. As when we eat food, the food breaks down into nutrients, and the nutrients go to all our body parts, okay, through the blood and give us energy. So the energy stored in our bodies in a form of chemical potential energy. Okay. Also, the chemical potential energy is found in the batteries, as when we have batteries, new batteries, okay? So these batteries stores chemical potential energy until we use it. So here, when we put it in a toy or in a remote of the television, what happens? Yes, the chemical potential energy inside the battery changes into another form of energy, okay? Maybe kinetic energy in the toy, make the toy moves, okay? Also, chemical potential energy stored inside gasoline that we use it to fuel the cars. So here, gasoline has chemical potential energy that it changes into kinetic energy, make the cars move, okay? Also, in the natural gas, there is a chemical potential energy in the natural gas that found in the tank, this tank, that when we use it, we connect it with the stove or the oven. What happens? Yes, this potential energy, chemical potential energy, changes into heat energy that we will know that it has the name thermal energy. Okay, this is a scientific name. We talked about the chemical potential energy that may found in the food or in the batteries or in gasoline that used for the cars. It found in the gas station, yes. Also, chemical potential energy is found in the natural gas that's used for heating and cooking food, okay? As we mentioned, that the batteries store chemical potential energy until we connect them in a device, okay, as a toy car or any device so that works by the batteries, what happens? Here the chemical potential energy will change into another form of energy, make the device works. Now we talked about forms of potential energy. We studied the gravitational potential energy and the chemical potential energy. As the gravitational potential energy, the Earth attracts the objects to its surface. When an object is raised up against the gravitational force, it stores gravitational potential energy. And chemical potential energy, this is the potential energy that is stored in food, in batteries, in gasoline and natural gas. As if we take an example as batteries, so batteries store chemical potential energy until these batteries are used to operate a device, okay? Here we have the last form of potential energy. As you see, this is called spring. It is coiled like that, spring. What happens if we compress the spring like that? Like picture 1. Yes, we compress the spring, and if we let it, what happens? It will move. It will change like the picture number 2. It will change to its original shape. Yes? So when the spring is compressed like picture 1, it stores potential energy. Okay? And this spring is found in many toys like what you see here. Here, these toy that found in the garden. When the kid sit on this toy, what happens? Yes, he compress the spring as make it go smaller. The spring will be shorter, okay? And in this case, the spring stores potential energy, okay? And when it moves back to its shape, what happens? This potential energy changes into kinetic energy, make the toy moves and the kid swings in this toy, okay? And we find it in like these toys, okay? This spring, when it compressed, it store potential energy that may change into kinetic energy and make the toy moves, okay? So here we finished the forms of the potential energy. Now we will talk about the forms of kinetic energy. As you see here, sound energy is a form of kinetic energy, and this is why, because sound energy travels in form of waves. The sound waves travel in the air, okay? So this is moving. So sound energy is a form of kinetic energy. Also, as you see here, light energy. Light energy is a form of kinetic energy, and this is why, because the light travels in straight lines in a form of waves. So the light travels in a straight line in form of waves in the air. So this form of energy moves. So we can say that the light energy is a form of kinetic energy. Here we have another form, which is electrical energy. Electrical energy, here the electricity moves through the wires. So here this is a form of kinetic energy. So we said sound energy, light energy, and electrical energy. We have another energy, which is thermal energy. We said that the heat energy, we call it in science thermal. Thermal. So thermal energy is a form of kinetic energy, and this is why, because when substance heated, what happens? Yes, there is a vibration happens. Yes, as you see here, the water moves when it is heated. So here there is a vibration of particles. So the particles of water move and vibrate. So the vibration of particles of substance during heating, this is make us say that the thermal energy is a form of kinetic energy because there is vibration of particles during the heating. Let us summarize what we said in the forms of kinetic energy. We said sound energy, electrical energy, light energy, and thermal energy. All of these energies, we can't see them, but we can see only the light energy. So the light energy is the only form that we can see, okay? As we can see the light, yes? We studied last time that the energy changes from one form to another. So here we will see an example for changing a potential energy into kinetic energy. As you see here in this picture, there is a child at the top of the playground slide. So here, this child has potential energy. And you know what is the kind of potential energy? Yes, gravitational potential energy. Excellent. And here, when the child moves down along the slide, what happens? Yes, the potential energy stored in this child will change into kinetic energy as he moves down the slide, okay? So we saw that the potential energy changes into kinetic energy. We have another example. As here, this boy holds an egg. Okay, so here the egg stores potential energy due to its height, okay, due to its position. So when the egg falls from the boy, what happens? Yes, it falls down, it moves toward the ground, and of course it will break. So what happens to the energy? Yes, it changes from potential energy stored in the egg to kinetic energy when the egg moves toward the ground, okay? So now we will study activity 7 from this lesson, lesson 3, which has the title Types of Energy. As we know that energy can be transferred, and transferred means to change location. What the meaning? As moves, as the energy can move from one object to another, as we saw in the example of the player when he kicks the ball. So what happens? Yes, he is applying a pushing force, and this force transfer the energy, the kinetic energy, from his leg as he moves his leg. So he has kinetic energy, and this kinetic energy moves or transfers to the ball, and the ball moves for a distance. So here, this is an example for energy that can be transferred, moved from one object to another, as the same energy as the kinetic energy from the player moves to the ball as it is kinetic energy, okay? Also, energy can be transformed, and transformed means change its form. As we saw, the potential energy changes into kinetic energy. When the roller coaster was at the top of the hill, so it stored potential energy. And when it moves downhill, what happens? This potential energy transforms to kinetic energy. So it changes its form. So energy can be transferred or transformed, can be moved from one object to another, or change the form from one form to another. We will see some changes from potential energy to kinetic energy. And we studied that the potential energy may be gravitational or chemical or from spring. Okay, and kinetic energy, we have many forms as sound energy, light energy, thermal energy, and electrical energy. So are you ready to take some examples for how the energy transform from one form to another? Here we have the first one. As you see here, this boy, yes, turns on the flashlight. So what happens to the energy here? Here, this flashlight is worked by batteries. So here, the chemical energy stored in the battery changes into, yes, as you see, light energy, as the light comes from the flashlight when we turned it on. And thermal energy, as if you turn on the flashlight for a long time, you will feel that it is hot. Yes, so here the chemical energy from the battery transform into light energy and thermal energy in the flashlight. Excellent. Here we have a pot on the stove. Yes. So what happens here? This stove is worked by the natural gas. So here the chemical energy stored in the natural gas changes into, yes, here the pot will get heated and the particles will move of the substance that found inside the pot. So that means that chemical energy is transformed into, yes, thermal energy. Okay, here we have another example. You know, this is a spring. So here, when a kid uses this toy, what happens? Yes, the spring is compressed and this will store energy. So the potential energy from the spring will change into kinetic energy and the toy will move. Yes, so the potential energy from the spring will change or transform into kinetic energy. So the kid can play and have fun, yes, by swinging by this toy. And here we have another toy. As you see here it works by batteries. So the chemical potential energy that found in the battery will change into, as this toy is moving, yes, so kinetic energy, and it produces sound, so it will change into sound energy and thermal energy if we make it turn it on for a long time, so you may feel that the toy is hot. So here those was, we see this car moves and it moves by, yes, the gasoline that we fill it from the gas station. So here the gasoline store potential energy, and when the car moves, so this potential energy, chemical potential energy, changes into kinetic energy. Here when we eat food, what happens? Yes, our bodies store chemical potential energy. And when we do activities, different activities as playing, running, holding objects, holding anything, so these chemical potential energy changes into kinetic energy. So here we have a very, very important note that tells us that energy can be stored in different forms as gravitational potential energy or chemical energy or in the spring, yes? And new energy can't be created. What the meaning of created? Created means to found from nothing. So when there is a new energy that we found, for example, when we put the battery in the flashlight and we turn the flashlight so it produces light. So this light energy comes from nothing? No. As it is created? No. as this light energy comes from that there is energy transformed into light energy, which is the chemical energy in the battery. So the new energy can't be created. Also, the existing energy can't be destroyed, as when we look to the energy of the battery, which is chemical energy, where these chemical energy go? Have it damaged? No. Have it destroyed? Okay, disappeared? No. What happens? Yes, this chemical energy changes into another form of energy. Okay, so energy can't be created or destroyed. We have many examples, like here, this electrical fan. It works by electricity. So here the electrical energy will change into kinetic energy as the fan moves. Yes, so here the electrical energy changes into kinetic energy. We have another example, as here, doorbell. As here, these work by electricity. So electrical energy will transform into sound energy. We will hear the bell. Yes? If we talk about the radio, so here the electric energy will transform into sound energy. We will hear the radio. Okay? The electrical energy in the lamp will change into light energy and thermal energy. As if you touch the lamp, you will find it hot when it is turned on for a long time. So here all of these are examples for how the energy transforms to another form, and the new energy isn't created, and the existing energy doesn't destroy or disappear. Okay, we will study lesson 4 from this concept 2, unit 2.